just a poor boy from Liverpool. I'm just a poor boy from Liverpool.
Hello everyone, it's Friday. Yes, Friday. And it's the current affairs, what's going on in the world today. I have to apologise for last night simply because I was absolutely shattered. Really was. You see, why I was shattered was because I had to make love to 42 women, from 11 o'clock until 7 o'clock when I opened up. But I had to leave another 23 outside. I just said I can't do it anymore. See you all again next week. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. Anyway, it's good evening from me. I hope you're going to have a great weekend, as we all should, because we all deserve a great weekend. I was watching a couple of films, and I advise you not to watch them because they're absolutely unbelievable, honestly. But watch them for a laugh if you want. And one of them's called Chum, Chum, Chum. And the other one is called Normal. It's about a place in America, Normal, and a sheriff, an easygoing sheriff, played by Bob Odenkirk. The fella out of Nobody. Nobody was a great film. Nobody 2 was a bit... And this one, Normal. Watch it if you want. Anyway, what are you saying here? Let's see. I've got a bit of news for you later anyway. And it's Franco. What should we make of a mass green to a disarm? Is this an olive branch of peace or a realisation that Mossad caused irreversible damage to its leadership and its ability to continue fighting the IDF? Where did you get that information from? Where I'd like to know, Franco, lad. Where it wasn't the BBC, was it? It wasn't ITV. It wasn't the Daily Telegraph or any of them, was it? Where was it? Because I've never heard that. See, Hamas would never, ever put down their arms. That's one thing. They would never offer an olive branch, not to their enemy, who also say, okay, we'll have a little ceasefire. That's just to rearm. That's just to get coordination back together, because they were being beaten in the Lebanon, weren't they? And that's why they don't want to go into Iran, because of they just get blown out of the skies, as you know. You see, Hamas, they're a fighting force against the enemy that have been trying to destroy them for many decades. And they're not just going to give up and say, okay, yeah, because what will happen to them? What will happen to them? Did you know that, what's his name, Gavir, that horrible man, he wants to build a moat around their prison, but all these Palestinians are kept, and put crocodiles in it. They're the enemy that they're fighting. And don't you think that they've got a mass prisoners there? Hey. And do you think that they'll offer an olive branch? No. wherever you got that information, Franco, I just don't know. I've never heard of it. And he will keep on fighting the IDF en masse. It's just like anything else, you just don't say okay and give up against the enemy. That if they capture you, they'd kill you anyway if you did throw an olive branch and said, okay, here is our arms. What do you think? What do you think will happen to them? And the people. And Franco again, shocking that Iran is second to China in a number of public executions. Conducted amnesty. Hang on. Executions conducted, obviously, by amnesty have reported 26 hangings this year and 60 awaiting executions. Look at America, how many's on death row. Have a look. How many children have been executed in Gaza and the West Bank? Have you thought of that one, Franco? Every day. Every single day. Even now as we speak. Thought about those kids being executed. Just shot in the head. Babies. 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds. Have you thought about that? And also you mentioned China. So do yourself a favour, Franco. Find out how many are on death row in America. They put people to death with lethal injection. Some ask for the chair. Some ask for hanging rather than the needle. Why don't you have a look at that? So you can't really come on and say about China. You've mentioned Hamas right through to Iran, to China. Where's your point, Franco? And what is your point? Tamaya. Hiya, Tamaya. Hello. Hiya, Tamaya. Hope you're well, sweetheart. I don't know you, really. I've never seen you before. Could you like and subscribe, please? That'll be nice. Thank you so much. This might be outgoing, This is not like football or anything. It's just like the opening 2 questions by a lad named Franco. So it's going to be commentary like that, unfortunately. You might disagree with me, like Franco might disagree with me as well. But that's the way the show is. Agreeing and disagreeing. And my old mate, good friend of mine, says Steve Mulholland to Franco, soon as Hamas agreed to disarm, Israel continued to bomb Gaza. There you go. There you go. Phil. Hello, Frank in chat. Hey, Phil. Happy Friday, Frank, says Stephen Coughlin. And chatters, so good, so good evening, everyone. So, no need to apologise. Peace out. is right. Peace out everywhere. And Ali says, good evening, boys and girls. Franco, last night I was close to kick one guy. First, he called me a spammer, says Ali. Then he called you an ignorant. I thought he was your friend, and I did nothing. Can you remember who it was? Because I never seen who it was. To be honest, I never seen the comment. Let me know, Ali, if you can think who it was, because I don't. I hate looking at myself, to be honest. So I don't feel. I don't look at the show. Replay of the show. I don't look at it. And Phil says Russia reportedly captured a Ukraine sea drone intact. The latest version. If true, they will know who built and really who was driving it. Yes. They know the great intel, the Russians. Great intel, honestly. And Steve Mulholland, hi Frank, sorry, I didn't join your pod last night. I went to a meeting in the Quaker, right, yeah, about crackdown on Palestine, solidarity. One of the main speakers was Tony Griestein, a Jewish man. Well, he wouldn't go with the name, yeah. Don't forget, stay. You're coming up to see me next week. You're coming up, aren't you? And don't forget to let me know who you're going to see. It went out my mind who you're going to see, and I said, I want to see him. And I forgot who it was. So let me know who it was. And lovely Natasha. Frankie, are you Natasha? Are you sweetheart? Listen, I'm going into hospital for my operation on the 24th of August. In a couple of weeks. Got the phone call today. So I'll be in there. I'm going right in. And they're going to operate on me. I'm going to see the neurosurgeon. And then meet the anaesthetic team. The anaesthetic team, they've got the baseball bats at you over the head, throw you on a gurney and open you up and do all kinds of things. So that's who I'll be meeting. And it'll be a Monday morning, the 24th. And you know what? The 24th of August always resonates with me, because I always went away on the 24th of August before I went back to university in the September. Always went away for 2 weeks. And I always seemed to go back to work at the uni on the 9th of September. So that 2 weeks, I loved it, just loved it. No news, no newspapers, no nothing. And just went on excursions in Italy, wherever it took me. Just lay on the beach for a couple of hours. And that was my holiday, then go back to work. So the 24th of August always, as I said, resonates with me. And that's when I'm having me up on my spine. I'm just glad I've got it through, simply because I've been waiting for 4 years. Just like Liverpool, I've been waiting for Liverpool to sign a number 6. 4 years, maybe we get one now. Excuse me. Iranian, says Phil, true Persians are very educated. My friend's dad died as they couldn't get medicine as a result of illegal sanctions by US. No, by us. Is that US or by us? It must be us, mustn't it? No sanctions. The IRGC would not be a governing says Phil. Well, kids are dying, aren't they? Little kids are dying without medication. I've got a picture here. Show you it. Just let me show you it. This is crap. Because it's like blurry. You can't see anything really. But I just want to show you something, if I might. If I might, just bear with me, please. Jesus, I'm sorry about this. No, they're not there. Sorry about this, people. Really am. I just want to show you the picture. And it's this. And this child went under operation without any anesthetic. Just have a look. That's a little birthday cake for her. Look at her legs. No arms. Her legs are badly damaged. She'll never be able to walk. So it's things like that, that gets me. Really does. And Steve Holland, Franco, China does execute paedophiles, but in the UK, they get night huts. There you go. And Franco says Ghazi Ahmed, a senior Hamas negotiating team, said the movement was making concessions for the sake of our people in the Gaza Strip. I'm only relaying what is being said by someone involved. And so, well, that's good. But as I said, I don't think they will put that down their arms, because if they did, it'll just be escalated against them. It really will. So negotiations are negotiations. How many negotiations have there been, Franco? I'm not getting that yet. It's all like, I'm not saying opinions either. I'm not saying opinions. It's just that when you talk about Hamas, who are they defending? Do you think if Hamas put their arms down, just, let's be hypothetical, do you think that they'd stop bombing and stop executing? Bombing and shelling and executing Palestinians in the West Bank and in Gaza itself. Do you think they'd stop? I don't. That's what they're like. Unfortunately. And Ali, to stay, for me, pedos, criminals, dealers need to be executed everywhere. 99% of them will never stop doing it after they will leave jail. They will start again. Well, when you go to jail for a traffic thing or whatever, whatever, that's where you learn your trades in jail. And it's so easy to get someone to say, do you want to earn money when you go out in 6 months' time? It's so easy. Say you're a petty thief and you get collared and you go to jail for 6 months. And this is where the recruiting goes on. Do you want to earn money when you get out? Lots of it. How? Lovely, no rain until the end of September. Do you know what, Natasha? I know a song. And it might as well rain until September. Great song. That's just reminded me of it. Just reminded me of it. And Natasha says, we are in an extreme heat wave and no hosepipe ban. 76, I remember, yeah, I don't think you was lovely, Natasha, but in 76, there was hosepipe bans everywhere. Everywhere, because it was extreme heat from the March right up until the end of August, coming into September. I know I lived through it. I lived through that heat in 76. And the reservoirs were really going low, really low. And at the time, there was talk of bringing icebergs, believe it or not, from the North Pole, the Arctic. See what I mean? So remember it, Natasha? Yes, Frank, his name is Asmak Tak from India. Oh, right, okay. Him. I didn't see him calling me ignorance. I've been called worse than that, to be honest. I've been called a clown. I've been told to fuck off. You know, remember him who said that? And Phil says to Natasha, I'm enjoying the summer. Too many years it was ruined with rain. Absolutely. I was going, when I was married at the time, I was going to have a barbecue for some good friends who I wouldn't be seeing again. And I said, listen, I'm going to have a barbecue next month, which the next month was July. I said, it'll be a weekend. It'll be on a Saturday. And, so the Saturday will be free from work the next day. So your hangover will be okay. You can suffer with it in the house. You don't have to go to work on the Monday if I have it on the Sunday. So he went, okay. I didn't have it. I did not have that because it rained every weekend. In fact, it was the worst July on record. I forget what year it was, and I never got a chance to say goodbye to some of the dearest friends I've ever had. And Ali says, stay strong for 24, Frank. God will protect you. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the 24th, yeah. It is worrying, I'm not getting away from the fact because I could come out of there, as you know, a paraplegic. That's the chance I've got to take. I'll have no voice. To have a little ping here so I could speak. It's the way it is. And lovely Toscana. Want to say to Franco and chat? All the best, Franco, for the 24. I hope someone can let us know how you are doing. Yes. Yes. Toscana, I will. I've only got the phone call before. I would have let you anyway. I just said, I'll let everyone know now. But I'll let you know, Toscana, summer. I might be on it. It's funny enough that the phone call I had today said, you might only be in a night. Because I was told a week and I wouldn't have any voice. But remember when I said to you that I met a lady outside and she had this thing across her neck here? Because that's where they're going in. And I said to her, she was talking on the phone and she'd just been released that day. And I said to her, I said, have you had the operation that I'm going under? Spinal. And she said, yeah, you have to go through here. I said, well, when did you have it? She said, yesterday. And she was talking, whereas I was told at the beginning that I might, lose my voice for 6 weeks. And yet she was talking within 24 hours. So, I don't know what to expect now. Frank, how long before they know if your spine is fixed or better? Phil, that's one thing I don't know. I really don't. It's just no matter how you look at ops. When I had a triple repair aneurysm, I had, believe it or not, I had 68. Those steel, I look like a zip. And a nurse had to come to me, because I was sent home and I was recovering at home. And a nurse came to me and she took them out. And the pain was, she said, yeah, bite on, have you got it? I said, yeah, I've got a flannel there, biting on the flannel. She said, just put your arm up when, if it hurts, I said, okay. She said, then I'll stop. And I'll have to go on, I carry on. I said, okay. 68 times I put my arm up. They weren't ordinary stitches, you see, because it was from, say, like my pubic bone right up to here. Horrible. I hope I don't have that. Here. Kill me. So I don't know, Phil, when. Mightn't be ever. I don't know. But I know that they're putting something in my vertebrae, like a little disc. You know what I mean? A disc. Like a pacemaker. That's the only thing I can describe. Between me vertebrae. And where the break is. So. And Stephen Cochran, hope all goes well in your operation. Fingers crossed. It's a success, Frank. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. And Franco, again, to stay, and Ali. My reference is simply to the fact that the public executions are happening, broadcast on state TV, with no trial of innocent people, including children. The crime speaking out against the regime. Did you actually see that? And it was in Arabic. See, don't forget you have spies, You have spies there. And they do execute spies. I do know that. Franco, I do know that. They execute spies. The likes of America don't execute spies, and Russia don't execute spies. Do you know why, don't you, Franco? Because they can trade. America has Russian spies or whatever, they call them spies. but they're just diplomats, and they call them a spy, lock them up, and wait for some Russian, some American to get captured over there, and then they swap them. Do deals that way. Our lovely Myra's with us. Hi, Frank and friends. Hiya, Myra. Hiya, sweetheart. Hey, Myra, hope you're well, says Ali. Franco, is that the WW support is for the people of Iran? The Americans only had to lift the sanctions to bring about a colour revolution. Listen, I put on, it was on that X, I put a comment on X weeks ago. And anyway, it was about America, how good America is. And I said, yeah, these are the people who start. And I mentioned about covert operations, regime changes, and so started all colour as revolutions. America think they've got leverage everywhere. But unfortunately, you've got this lunatic who's saying that he's going to put Iran into oblivion. Iran. Why? What's Iran's on to America? That's what I want to know. It's like I've always wanted to know who built the pyramids. Who built the pyramids? And it's the same question. What's Iran done to America? What have they done? I'd like to know. Maybe Franco could tell me what Iran has done to America. And Franco says war is terrible wherever it comes from. It is sad that we have a world that is simply ripping itself apart, and ultimately no one wins. We had 2 world wars and have not learned anything. So sad. It's besides, it's besides 2 world wars as well, after the Second World War, how many wars were there? And he was involved in them all. You had the Korean War, didn't you? 53. You had the Suez Tang occupation. So the Korean War, why was anyone there? Can anyone tell me? Oh, that's right, it's to stop communism. Oh, right, okay. Did they stop it? No. They just split a country in half. Then you had Vietnam. And they cut that country in half. But Vietnam won, they kicked the Americans out. So they're all one now. And it's a beautiful country. Free to visit. And everybody who's been to Vietnam says that it's absolutely wonderful. And America went over there to stop communism. Thousands of miles from there, sure. Imagine Vietnamese invading America with their ideology. Oh, come on. So it's not just, I understand what you're saying, Franco, but it's not just 2 world wars. It's what's going on today as well. It's what's going on today. You've only got to look at, I keep saying this, going into a sovereign country, kidnapping the president of that sovereign country and his wife and bringing him out of that sovereign country to America, parades him around like they parades around Caracas in Rome as a villain. And that was Nicolas Maduro and his wife. Does anyone see it? Did you see any pictures of Maduro's wife, by the way, when she was arrested? She wasn't being arrested, but she said, I want to go with my husband. When they yanked him out. And then you see a picture 24 hours later, she had black eyes. Who's done that to her? Who's done that to that little old lady? It hasn't stopped. Proxy war, America. They started everything in Ukraine with the coup d'etat in 2014, led by Victoria Nuland, CIA. See, the CIA, you might just think that these are fellas in suits. They're an army. And MI6. You think that they're all James Bonds? No. These are hand-picked, these fellas, with uniforms on. But you're right there, what you said, Frank. Oh, no one wins. And we're still fighting wars. And Myra to Steve Malone. And red goals. And he says, red goal. I red goals. Hi, Frank. Hope you're in better health. FSG and Hughes and Co. need to back Areola. If they don't, it's unacceptable. A manager without backing is a car without wheels. That's a cracker, that. Or a car without brakes going towards a big wall. That'll crash into a wall. So we could crash. There's an analogy that, though. Red goals. We had the show last night, the football show. I wish you would have been there last night. It would have been great. I became homeless, says Ali. So it's like I am going as well as to a surgery. You don't need to think about something bad. Not even a moment. Keep trusting yourself. Faith will be with you, sir. Thank you, Ali. Thank you so much, fella. Records. I meant to, I hope you're in better. Oh, thank you. Well, I had my operation anyway in a couple of weeks, so I hope to be in fine fettle, as they say. But thank you, Red Goals, for that. Thank you. Appreciate it. And Stephen Coughlin said, all you see is burnt patches in parks across the green patches with people having a barbecues. It's bad news, especially with the heat wave. I'll let them enjoy it anyway, where we can. Hey, Frank, that Red Scouser John from St. Helens was seen working as a traffic warden in St. Helens Town Centre. Says it all. I'll go away. Go away. Go away. Traffic warden. That'll do, eh? Parking your car there. Jeez. He was horrible then, wasn't he? How can you be a Scouser when you're from St. Helens? That's what I want to know. Really. How can you be a Scouser when you're from St. Helens. St. Helens. You speak like that, St. Helens. Where are you from, St. Helens? No disrespect to the people from St. Helens. It's just this prat. John the Scouse from St. As Arthur Finlay wrote, says Frank Holm, why will men fight and suffer to advance the interests of their masters, who fling them aside when they have no further? That's a crack. That's it. It's just like what Wilfred Owen wrote. Franco, in the opening line of Anthem for Doomed Youth. Anthem. That's the title of his poem. Anthem for Doomed Youth. What passing bells for these who die as cattle? Think about that. What passing bells for these who die as cattle? Anthem for Doomed Youth, the title is. Look it up. Unless most probably you've read it and you know it. But it's just the same as what you said there, Franco. No wars are good. None. I've just been watching a thing there. A girl trying to fight. A girl with a boyfriend in a car trying to fight off these fellas who just pulled up front of them, side of them, and dragging a boyfriend out. Ukrainian thugs. The Azovs dragging this young fella out to go to the front line. She was trying to fight them off. The lads was trying to fight them off. To no avail. He'll be I don't know when this was, could have been the other day, but he'll be training now to go to the front line to be killed. Because that's what's happening every day in Ukraine to all the mercenaries who are over there. Colombians and everyone are there fighting. Poles are fighting. And I was listening to their Polish Prime Minister saying we're going to help. We're going to help the Ukrainians, defeat Russia, and we're going to help them in this. And he mentioned Banderites. He said that the Banderite flags don't fly here. Look up who the Banderites are, and yet they're all over the place. And I can show you there on my phone. Banderite flags, swastikas, the Nazis. And they murdered hundreds of thousands of Jews in the Second World War. The Banderites, led by Stepan Bandera. That's who the Banderites are. Azovs, Nazis. And yet there's that stupid Pole fella saying, but someone must have said so. But he said, well, there's no Banderite flags flying here, but they're flying all over the place in Ukraine. Won't be much longer. I reckon giants built the pyramids. Our Frank, says Carl. Do you know, as you know, if you don't, I have mentioned this before. I wanted to be an archaeologist, and I did a year of it. Then I went and took a year out, but he ended up taking 12. And when I went back, the unfortunate thing was they wasn't doing what I wanted to do, was the Roman period. And they said, do you want to do Egyptology? I said, no. They said, we can send you to South America. I said, no. But I've always been fascinated who built the pyramids. The technology in them is unbelievable. Yeah, there's a film if you want to watch. It's called The Pyramid. Pyramid, the pyramid. It's called it's good. It's good. Excuse me. It's of a lovely friend of mine, two lovely friends of mine. I reckon giants built the pyramid. You've only got to look at, Peru. Have you seen the Peruvian lines? The Peruvian lines are absolutely amazing. And the figures as well that were done thousands of years ago. They found what you call them, a totem pole, what we call them, a totem pole in the middle of a Peruvian jungle. A totem pole. But it wasn't of wood, as the indigenous Native American did. This was of metal. That's all I can say. It was metal. And they took samples of this metal. And apparently there's 68,000 types of things, that make up this, metal, any metal. And yet, the samples of this is not found on Earth. And that's a totem pole stuck in the middle of it. Well, he found it in the middle of the jungle. He built the pyramids, and I think Phil's Egypt. I love that, That's true, honest. I know he's taking the mic, by the way. Brilliant. And Johan. Greetings, Frank and fellow comrades. Smash the likes or you'll be smashing stones in a Siberian gulag as soon as I hand over the defectors list to the FSB. Oh, you can't make these up, can you? Just imagine, Egypt. Then all of a sudden we have the Siberian gulag. And Franco. On a lighter note, another heat wave next week. Reservoirs getting low, hosepipe bans, possible food shortage. If only you would have been on last night. This is what I was saying. I've been saying it for a while, Franco. You're spot on. Food shortages by Christmas. Is there a conspiracy theory behind this? Is this the new tool for power? That's a crack of that because everyone has something, haven't they? Everybody has something to say, and we can do better. And this is why you have new parties growing, especially in this country, with that reform and what's that other one? I take no notice of them I don't take any notice of any political parties now. I gave up. I gave up a few years ago because they're all the same. They're all puppets. Every single one of them are puppets for the Americans. I'll tell you when I gave up with them, I'm being honest. When Obama was in power, And was it Jeremy Corbyn? I forget who it was. I forget who it was. And Cameron was one of them. And anyway, he's fighting. And he said, if Labour, this is Obama, if Labour gets in, we're having a general election. You know the way they say, don't interfere. They're always saying that Russia interferes with American elections, which is a load of nonsense. And he said, you will go, if Labour gets in, you will go bottom of the list. What fucking right do they have to say that? Obama, a warmonger, with blood on his hands, over Libya. And that's why he wanted Cameron in, to stay in, because the pair of them went after Gaddafi. The pair of them. Cameron and Obama. What a phony he was. So nothing for the black community. A good shout there, Franco. Very good. And Phil says, Egypt tried to block any further investigation into the pyramids as it is a great national pride. Imagine if we found out it wasn't. It's like anything, isn't it? Isn't it like anything? You find out. This is why people are, look, I don't think anyone, I don't trust politicians. Not by a long shot. And this is why, people fall down and say, do you know what, this is going to be great. Trump, his ticket was peace, no wars with us. He was going to stop the war within 24 hours. Remember that? I knew he wouldn't. He wouldn't have stopped the war within 24 hours. But everyone went along the ticket, no more wars. Blaming Biden for it, which he had the right to blame Biden for everything, getting us into a war, he said. But it was the way he was coming out and saying it, but it was all scripted for him. He's become the worst president ever, the worst warmonger. You've only got to look at Venezuela. You've only got to look at his threats against Greenland, Cuba, and other. You've only got to look at what went on in Kuwait, is it? In Morocco, which is, it belongs to Spain from the colonial days. And that's a warning to anybody. We can do this to you. Think about that. We can do this to you. Hello, Johan, says Ali. And red goals. The rich 2% have always sent the working class and poor to kill for them in order to get richer. Then they steal from the poor. Repeat, repeat, repeat. And rinse. Yes. Repeat and rinse. It's always been the same. You see, I hate propaganda, I really do. See, they say propaganda, which sounds nice. It's not, fucking lies. They're telling everyone lies, us, me, you, and everyone. And they know what's going on. I'm going to say, take Burnham, for example. Burnham, our new Prime Minister. He was just put in there. There was no challenge. There was no say, well, I want to be Prime Minister. There was none of that now. So who's running our country? By saying, Burnham, he'd have to be a member of Parliament. Oh, okay then. What are you now? Oh, he's a mayor. Oh, okay, Mayor of Manchester. Okay, well, you'll have to fight a by-election. How did that by-election come about? Got to ask yourself. Then he fought the by-election, won it, and then straight in to be a PM, Prime Minister. So what's that telling you? Who's running it? Then he says to Zelensky, yeah, we're going to give you everything, no problem. This country, as you mentioned, that Franco mentions it about, food shortages, about well, he never mentioned really the economy, but the way it's going, and with the Strait of Hormuz and nothing's getting through, prices are going to hit the ceiling. I know. Our Francine brings me shopping, and I'm even getting to know the prices. I just go, whoa, look at this. Me. And I have to do shopping. But once I started doing my own shopping, and you can see the prices going. But it's all economic, you see. And oil, they say like electricity is great. It is great, electricity. A car is great to get you from A to B. A bus, train, plane, everything. And what you've got is everything going up right now. Prices of fuel. Because oil is gold. Oil gets everything going. Everything. When you turn the lights on, it's oil. I'm talking to you, it's oil. Everything is oil. It keeps the wheel spinning. It keeps the economy going. But any signs of oil not getting through globally, that's where it's everything. It's everything. Gas. You had Nord Stream pipeline blown up, didn't you? And Scholz, the Chancellor at the time, Biden was asked a question. This is in the White House, briefing. And Scholz was there, the German Chancellor. And it's just a female reporter said, well, how can you stop the North Sea pipeline? Because it was flowing right through, you see, into Western Europe. And he said, there's means. We have means. And the next, it was blown up. And you had Sikorski, a fellow named Sikorski, who's a Polish Russophobe and a minister. As soon as it was done, he put out a tweet, as it was then. Thank you, USA. And he puts a picture up of where the pipe was blown, and you just see it all coming out on the surface of the water. Thank you, USA. This is what they're all about. This is what everything's all about. But you know what you've got? You've got a dirty war happening right now in Ukraine. What's a dirty war? A dirty war is assassinations. Has Russia assassinated anybody? No. Has Ukraine? Yes. Yes. They have. Going around. They tried to assassinate a fella, a CEO, who makes drones, Russian, tried to assassinate him, car bomb, killed the driver, but he got out, he's badly injured, but they couldn't assassinate him. That's what you call dirty war. How many people have been assassinated in Russia by Ukrainians? Good evening, John Franco says, Mr. B. I am Mr. B. and Johan to Ali. Good evening, Ali. Hope you're doing well. And Phil to Johan, the famous Gulag archipelago book has more recently been described as exaggeration. Well, it would be, wouldn't it? I read a book, and I always forget the title. I have mentioned this, and it's about this is in 1936, 37, something like that. And it was about a British fella, and he gets to Russia. So, well, anyway, he gets there. And the next, they lock him up as a spy. Cracking. He was a soldier, by the way. He was an officer, high-ranking officer, and he gets there. And I don't know what it was over, forgetting now. But he gets there anyway, and he's thrown in a gulag, found guilty, gets thrown in a gulag. And him and 4 other fellas escape the gulag. And what a journey he had. It was a cracking book, true story. And he finds his way to the Himalayas, gets over, and he gets into India. And then, he finds out that there's a war going on. And he said, is it with Russia? He said, no. They're on our side. It took him a couple of years to get away, to get over, to go through wherever he went through, fighting bears and everything. And the other 4 comrades of his was killed. One was an American, actually. Johan, yes, all good. Yeah, no, Jesus. And Renko says, being a Greek Cypriot, there's nothing wrong with barbecue. No, there isn't. There isn't. I understand. I had, when I had my house, I had, I got some bricky, a great fella, friend of mine. I said, build us a barbecue. And he went, okay. So we built a barbecue with the grid and everything. And that was all right. Being a Greek Cypriot, we've got a South African with our beautiful Myra on. We've got a Romanian with Ali. And a Greek Cypriot. Said his paparazzi hasn't come on yet. The alligator man. And Mr. B says, Frank and chat, I'd love to know who protected Savile. Who's responsible for Diana? You see, that's where the conspiracy theories come out. This will interest Mr. B. This will interest Mr. B. And you, I'm sure of it. And I'm going back years ago. I'm going back when we used to go down to Turkey and get jobs for the summer season. When everything was broken up, colleges, you name it, all broken up. Used to go down there. And I was talking to 2 Scottish lads. Well, I was in the same lodgings as them. And lovely fellas. And one of them was just sitting, having a chat on the beach, as you do in Turkey. And we're just sitting there, just chatting. general conversation. And this lad said, one of them just said, he said, "Do you know what?" He said, my dad, he said, he's got a brother. He says, and he's a lovely fella. And he lives up in Loch Lomond, or one of the lochs, forget now, I think it's Lomond, Loch Lomond. And he was a fisherman, and he used to just go out. He wasn't a fisherman that is, I said, "Oh, so he went out into the deep sea?" And he said, "No," he said, "he just went on the loch, just fishing. Like people, go to streams and fish." He wasn't a proper fisherman as such. And what he's seen while he was fishing, him and his mate, two of them, they had lines out, and what they seen protruding from the water was that. And then it went back to. And I said, "I'll go away." He said, "Yeah." He said, they were terrified. And they only had, there wasn't a motorboat or anything. They just rose and got back to the shore. And they were terrified what they see. So it's things like that. That's a conspiracy theory, isn't it, really? If someone's seen something, it's like this. It's like anything. It's like when you look at a conspiracy theory in the full light of day, like I said, who built the pyramids? That's a conspiracy theory. And I've always wanted to know who built them. Because I'm telling you now, no matter how good ancient Egypt was and how old it is, some Egyptian never came out and went, "Hey, lads, this is what we're going to do." What's that? "Oh, it's what you call a pyramid." "Oh, right, okay." He said, "I want this built." He must have said, "I want this built," to the lads. "Okay, we build it then." "Where are we getting the stone from?" "Oh, well, we'll have to get it from up there, the river." Because there was a river going through by, believe it or not, where the pyramids are. Now, those boats were only made of like bamboo. Forget what wood it is. The woodmaster would know. And any one of the stone be placed on that boat would have sank. So how did they get them? On rollers. That's what you see. I'm not having that. And now the star of Sirius, the beam, goes at the top of one and bounce off right into the Pharaoh's tomb. Ow. And the one in Giza, the main pyramids in Giza, has only moved. And they call it now, they're saying it's between 8,000 and 10,000 years old. The carbon copy. They just can't pinpoint. And it's only moved between 8,000 and 10,000 years. Less than just on a quarter of an inch, put it that way. How's that possible? Soft sand. They must have had wimpies into it, dig a big hole, fill it with concrete. No, not for me. Not for me. With today's technology, they try to build Americans try to build a small pyramid and it failed. could do it. And that's what today. They found a sarcophagus, didn't they? And when they lifted the lid, inside it was perfect. There wasn't a mark on it. It was like a sheet of glass, sides and the bottom. There wasn't a scratch on it. Wasn't a scratch. And it's as though it's done by not even a laser today, but a future laser. Have you seen the crystal there, skull? You can't do that. It's unbelievable. And Steve Mulholland's Ukraine launched naval attack on another tourist resort in Yalta, Crimea. And this is what they keep doing, killing civilians. They only aim at them. And no one says nothing. The West. But if it was Russia, doing the very same, well, you know what's happened. Oh, Phil, Frank, the best videos is when the public better the recruitment gangs, the recruitment bar stewards get paid commission for each body they grab. Yeah. The rewards. Have you seen now that woman, the American ambassador to Ukraine? She's being done for corruption. And the corruption is, can't make it up. She was living beyond her means from a menial pay. You know, with a new Mercedes and big mansion and everything. Oh, you can't make these things up. Ukraine. And Burnham still sending money while we've got, I don't know whether it's 4 or 5.4 million children below the poverty line in this country. And he's sending money. He could fix all that right away. Hey, Frank, have you read the lyrics of Bob Dylan, Master of song? It's my favourite anti-war, anti-politician song. Well, that's what he nearly got into their trouble for that. He nearly got into terrible trouble for that. Greg Golds. For that song. Same as John Lennon. You know, there's that Chapman who killed him. There was more to it. There was more to John Lennon's death because he was against Vietnam and people were taking notice of him when he had these peace marches. Oh, Phil. Frank, what about the pyramids in the graveyards in Rodney Street? Serious Masonic symbol? Yeah. Mackenzie's too. Who's a very rich Scottish engineer. And he actually built the tunnel leading into Lime Street Station from Edgehill. He designed that tunnel. And, you know, there's a myth about him saying that he didn't want to be buried because the devil would get him, you know, below ground. So he had to have a pyramid where he's above ground, or the devil will get him. Well, that's a myth, that. And I'll tell you for why he was buried in the pyramid. In life, he always wanted to have a royal flush. A royal blush. And he said in his will, if I don't get the royal flush, he said, put me above ground with a royal flush in my hand sitting at a table. Not above ground, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Below ground, sitting at a table. That's the way I want to be buried. So he thought about it. And when he did die, his family just said, I'll just bury him. But his solicitor, they said, no, you can't. This is his will. You've got to put him with a table and chairs. Now, when you look at it, the grave digger said, we'd have to go right down. Instead of the usual 6 foot, we'd have to go 12 foot down to sit him in a chair. We can't do it. Not within the allotted time, because there's no pneumatic drills then, the mid-19th century. So what they did, they came up with a plan to build him a pyramid. So they got the best of all these architects in to build a pyramid. They said, yeah, we'll have a go. And that's how he's buried, sitting at a table. Now you might think, how do you know? Well, there's a fella, he was believe it or not, a magician. Lovely fella, forget his name. And I gave a talk somewhere, and he came over to me. He said, I've got some American friends coming over. I said, yeah, I didn't know this man. He said, I want you to be there. He said, because I know that you're interested in the Mackenzie Pyramid. I said, yeah. And they put these Americans, one of those things that they put down your throat and in your ears and wherever, any orifice they can find, those camera things. And they put one in. I don't know whether they drilled it all or what. And it went along the floor. And what you see is a table. You don't see the table, you see the table's legs. You see shoes and like trousers, very loose, and cards on the floor. Some cards on the floor. And they got this person in, some doctor who, studies bones and things like that. And he says, if he's been sitting there with a royal flush in his hand, eventually everything will just disintegrate and the bones will just fall apart. And that's why the cards are on the table, or on the floor. And they had a specialist in who looks at cards from periods, when they were made. Anyway, he said, yeah, it was mid-19th century, 1850 or something, 1860. He said, and they went on for years, the same type of cards. And some of them were like curled up as well. And that's that. Pyramid, Mr. Mackenzie. But it's a cracking pyramid, by the way. Cracking pyramid. So that's how the people got their money. What was in the will was 300,000 quid. And go back to what, 1860? 300,000. What's that equivalent today? And farmlands around the world are being bought by tech companies to install data centers that require more fresh water supply in a year, which the same farm required in 10 for crops. Well, there's bound to be something, isn't there? I was reading once where be another conspiracy theory. I just don't, but you don't know about the Yanks. That's they've got this sort of machine that can control the weather. Think about that, a weather machine. And Johan says there's going to be a food crisis coming soon. They want to eliminate 7 of us in a room of 10, 3 being the oligarch. The oligarchs are ruining the world, as you know. Just bear with me a minute. And Stephen Cochran says, they go on about climate change and no one does fuck all about it. It's a sad state of affairs, Frank, with many things happening around the world that's slowly burning out. It's scary times. It's scary times. We're so close to a nuclear Armageddon. It's just scary times. You've got movements of people. They're going everywhere. Movements, and I'm talking millions, to destabilise countries. And whose plan was that? And Carl says, your boss you are, Frankie. Hey, Frank, they've closed over 100 reservoirs over 100 years. Why would you do that, knowing there was going to be more population in our country? See, the thing is, Carl, like I've just said there a minute ago, look, America, there's a fella named Wesley Clark. He was a general, and he actually let out that America was going to destroy the Middle East, and he named the countries. And he named he named 2 African countries. I forget the first, the other one, but one of them was Somalia. Destroyed them. And he did, the Americans, because you've only got to look at Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and the last one, Somalia as well. The last one on the list was Iran. Now, I'm going back to 1999 when he said this and brought out the paper. And what do we do? What's America doing now today? Fighting Iran. What for? What have they done to it? What have they done to the Americans? Oh, no, it's the who wants them to go in and bomb them. Some other little country in the Middle East, tinier than the tiniest. You see, when you when you grow up and you go and you look around, and there's nothing like this what you're seeing today as I was growing up and going into adulthood. There was none of it. Everything seemed to be on a level playing field. If you wanted to make something of yourself, you did. You had the opportunity. There's some people who just carried on with their lives and just got married and had kids and, became family. These are friends of mine. And they just carried on with life. What they achieved in life was the families. They were good people. I was different. You might say I was different. They stayed married. That's all I'm saying. I didn't. So we was better off. Them with a loving family and lovely kids who are all grown up now. They've got kids of their own. Or me. Them. Unfortunately, I've got a photograph somewhere of them. I was looking. 97% of them are dead. A big photograph. Me and my friends. Dirt. Think about it. All those places blitzed are now running wild in Europe. Those wars are invading countries for oil, fuel, critical minerals, says Mr. B. Yes. Yes. Did you hear Trump the other week going, we've got, what did he say? We've got the Venezuelan oil and we're making millions. That's what he said. Isn't that sad? He's a bully. He's bullying the world. Is Trump. He's off his head. And Phil says, Frank, you know history and the barbarity of the past. In thousands of years, for all the small steps for men and leaps for mankind, humans are still led by barbarians. Has anybody ever read Othello? And it's only what Phil said there. Now, Othello, it's about a barbarian general who was married to a white woman. Married to her. And it turns out, it's a racist play, if any. But the main thing is, who's the barbarian in the play? It wasn't the barbarian, Othello. He was a good man and a great general. It was a fellow who he overlooked for promotion. And he went out for revenge. And his name was Iago. Great play. Great play. So you see the way, I said that like racism. And it is. It's the first racist play I've ever studied in my life. Because he's black. And they called him, he came from the Barbary Coast. So therefore, he was a barbarian. Fantastic play. Fantastic story. And then you come to the conclusion, well, who is the barbarian? You see? Great Shakespeare. You get to know his stories. Love him. And Mr. B, climate change, climate hoax, says Mr. B. I'm forever building scaffolding by the docks. I'm always thinking, why build here? Rising sea levels. Why build here? Rising sea levels. Yeah. I was watching something. It was on YouTube. Oh, I forget where it was. And all of a sudden, what you see, somewhere in the Far East, I forget now. And what you see this torrents coming down, it's just coming down. And you see these lovely homes, and all of a sudden they're just collapsing. Because the water is getting into, the side of, say, hill, and the homes that were built are just falling into the sea, just giving way. The earth, below the houses, just giving way to these torrents, and you just see them floating away. Like Siegfried Sassoon, when he ripped off his medal, when he was stationed here in Liverpool, in the First World War, the great Siegfried Sassoon, English war poet, and he ripped off his medal, threw it into the Mersey, and he said, it floated away to its own futility. Think about that. It floated away to its own futility. Fantastic. And Franco says, it was the pre-Brexit campaign. Obama came to London and told the British people, if you vote, that's well done. Franco, mille grazie, as the wonderful Italians say. Thank you. We'll go back at the queue. Later he tried to say it was a joke rather than a warning. That was a warning. It's just like every American president who gives warnings and just say, I was only messing. Oh, the nonsense. He meant it. Well said, mate. Well said, Franco. And Phil says, Mr. B, there's a great book called The Whale for Sale. Gobsmacking facts verified. The Wales is always for sale. Always has been. Why do we hold Gibraltar? Why? We tried to hold the Straits of the Mediterranean. We tried to control, which we did. But you're going back to the 17 and 1800s. Why are we still there? Spain is a landlocked, Gibraltar is a landlocked place belonging to Spain. It's landlocked with Spain. And you know that they've been in talks for decades. Even long before I was born. That's saying something. And Johan says 75% of Ukraine farms are untillable due to the metallic debris being embedded into the soil from the constant bombardment. And guess who's buying up their land? BlackRock. and Vanguard. Yes. Well, look at Mates. What's he called? BlackRock Mates, isn't he? The way people are now, um, let's just take two countries. When you've got the likes of, say, Germany, for example, they're looking at, from Merkel right up to Merz and Schultz. And they're saying we've had enough. And he's only 13% approval now, Merz. Excuse me. 13% approval in the polls. He's on his way out. You've got the likes of Marie Le Pen. She's going to sweep the board in France when Macron goes. So you've got to ask yourself why. This country, people are saying, what's Burnham doing? He's not going to change anything. We don't want this. But it's happening anyway. And he's doing it the exact same thing as the rest of them, coming from the likes of Cameron right through with all those stupid people who became prime ministers and fell away. And Mr. B says, Phil, I'll give that a look. That's the book, that. About it being for sale. And Phil says, Mr. B was nominated for Book of the Year. Mr. B. No, I don't mind that. I love that because they're never forgotten our 97. I love that. I know it's not football tonight, but hashtag 97, you'll never walk alone. Love that. Thank you, Mr. P. Do you know our Francine sent me something the other day, a message. And it had I don't know what it's from. I don't know whether it was from Facebook or, because I don't go on that. I don't know whether it was Facebook or it's X. I don't know. And it said, and I said, well, what's this about? Because someone mentioned me. She said, that's my dad. And I said, what's that about? And he said, well, for dignitaries, not dignitaries, but for people in Liverpool, rather than football, other than football, we should build a couple of statues for these people. And some mentioned me. The statue. What a laugh. Blimey. Cheers, mate. And Phil says, how was Savile invited to so many Christmas days with the Thatcher and a good friend of the Royals? So MI5 didn't know about him being a perv. What the fuck? Did you know that he was a necrophiliac? Did you know that? And they knew it. Must have done. I could imagine nurses knowing this, even porters. So, you could say, could you, could you imagine them? They couldn't say anything because they'd lose the job. They must have known. They must have known. Everyone knew. They were friends of his. Phil, fat lad, says Die Red won. Hello, Die Red. One. Can you subscribe to me, please? I need to get the algorithm. I wish some people would just say, listen, subscribe to Frank's channel. Even if you don't like him, just subscribe. I'm about 300 short of 2K, which would be a milestone. Be nice, wouldn't it, to get to 2K? And Johan says, Frank, you saw those images I sent from India above the Carlyle temple? Yep. The ones you said that reminded you of Petra and Jordan? Yep. That was carved out of a mountain 2,000 years ago. We can't replicate it today. Nope. No. And I'll tell you what else I've seen, Johan. And it was in China. And do you know where we see like cliff faces? Not mountains, cliffs. Well, there's a cliff. Well, there's a few cliffs, to be honest, but this one in China is huge. Never mind the white cliffs it's over. This is, must be 20 times bigger. Honestly, I should see the size of it. And you see people walking up it. Steps. Up this big cliff thing. Unbelievable. And people coming down. They're bypassing one another. Frightening. No, it's like the pyramid. Can't replace that or replicate it. Johan. Myra's gone. Oh, she's gone. Later, Frank and friends. Oh, she's gone. Lovely Myra. Lovely girl, South African. Lovely girl. And Mr. B says, when I'm able to tune in, I love these pods with the Palermo podfather. Palermo. Palermo podfather. And I read once says, you will never, in caps, never hear the word genocide out of Burnham's mouth. Nope. He's a friend of Israel, isn't he? That's why. And Steve Mulholland, what do you think about Boy George's new songs of the Tiny Hats? Disgusting. Disgusting. Does he know anything, Boy George? Really, does he know anything? See, he must read, the Western media, and I'm talking about, I'm talking about, the broadsheets of this country. and even a few American papers, like the New York Post, things like that. He must read, and he must all think, oh yeah, well, I think I'll write a song about them because he knows nothing. And Mick Gonzo, hiya Mick. I literally just walked past Mackenzie's tomb on Rodney Street on my way home. Brian Epstein was born over the road. Very good. Mick, well done, mate. It's surprising, isn't it? As Mick Gonzo just said there on my way home, I just walked past there. How everything connects. What people talk about. And Johan Systema Holland, irrelevant hack selling his soul for the shekels. What's worse, the beat is made with AI because he couldn't find musicians to collaborate with him. That's Boy George, isn't it? They've got hold of everyone. Even young influencers in America, they pay them. And Ali said, Europe should be okay. We are 750 million people in total around Europe. Asia is 5 billion. I don't think Europe will be okay, Ali. I'm being honest with you, mate. And Frank Water will be the most valuable commodity, and it says now. It says now, Phil. Just checked online. Countries most resources: 1, Brazil; 2, Russia; 3, USA; 4, Canada. And you wouldn't think that with Brazil, would you? You'd have the rainforests there. I just have to have a drink of water. I have to put everything down. What? Try and watch the pyramid. Please. Film. It was done in 1940. No, it wasn't 1940. No, 2040. Going back 112 years. 1940. I understand what Phil, and you're right. Water is. That's why when you get Asians, when they set up camp, they would always buy water. Not to drink, but for trade. Then they used to dig wells, just dig down, open, that water's there. That's how you got wells. If they see like little water things, just like St. James's Cemetery, they found water when they were digging the cemetery. They said, where's this coming from? This wall. Where's this coming from? It's all water coming out. So it was a source, pure water. Good for your eyes, they said. And even the hospitals say, bathe them in this water. Isn't it strange how you bathe your eyes? And when you saw it, yeah, it was on the phone, all the actions of what you're intended to do. especially with football. And Johan, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, whereas the road to enlightenment is often a lonesome and depressing journey. Never judge a fish on its ability to fly or a bird on its ability to run. And yet you get both. You do have flying fish too. And you do have a bird that can run. Look at the ostrich. How would you like to chase that ostrich for Sunday dinner? Never catch it, would you? We all have a purpose. That's what I'm trying to. No, we do. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody. If we never had a purpose in life, what's the use? Like I retired years ago, and I still try to have a purpose. I could have just sat back and just let the world go by. I've done my bit. But I think it's the worst thing anyone can do is just sit back and let the world go by. You know, I think there's a meaning or a purpose in life that you should do something. And I don't mean like criminalise anything. I don't mean I wouldn't be. I was offered to honestly. I don't know what I said to anyone on here, but I did say to people that I was approached to join a political party, and they said, "Well, with your name, you'll easy get in because you're well respected." And I flatly refused. This is before I became disillusioned with politics, by the way. You'd never guess what party he wanted, and I knew this fella. He was a former colleague of mine and fellow historian. And he said, "Frank, do you fancy it?" I said, "No." I said, "If I joined that party," he said, "but you'd win hands down." I said, "It makes no difference whether I'd win hands down." I said, "If I join that party, become he wanted me to become an MEP, member of the European Parliament. He said, "You'll walk it." I said, "I didn't even want to be a councillor here." Anyway, that party, you're not going to believe what it was. I think you'd have a guess. And it was UKIP. I said, "Could you imagine my dear friends, people I grew up with, what they call me?" Johan, says Phil, "Them roadrunners can shoot." Do you remember that? Where he is, look. He's been looking at pods him about Liverpool. Oh, you missed it before, Anfield Road. It's brilliant. You had John Aldridge in, saying, about when we're going to buy. I only asked him that. And he said, "Oh, fuck off," and went. Anyone will tell you on here? At the beginning. But thanks. Even if Frankie, lad, thanks for that. Thanks for all that. And Johan to Phil, touche. strive to be a road runner. And Phil says, Johan, beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. Desideri. That's brilliant, that, isn't it? Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Phil, Frank Burnham on holiday. If I had a country to sort out, I wouldn't be on holiday. Cheeky bar Stewart. Yes. On holiday. I've given up. And you want to Phil, with all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it's still a beautiful world. Be cheerful and strive to be happy. Great poem, that. I watch, I put YouTube on and I'm just sitting there, over day. And I put OLED on, all these nice, like, tellies coming out. And they're showing you things. The world is absolutely stunning. And we're ruining it. We're ruining the world that is beautiful that we live in. Mankind. Do you ever remember in the 60s and 70s when they were testing the nuclear weapons, hydrogen bombs, into the seas? What were they destroying into the seas? Just see the... And even on land, Arizona, Christmas Island, for example, setting them bombs off. And Phil says, I think it's my favourite. Frank, I am like an apostle spreading the word. Even told my dietitian about your show. I'll be getting the boot from her soon. Now I'm in fine fettle. Why? Because you told her about this. And the unfair law. Frankie, I'm still angry about young James Bulger's murderers and what them two got away with. Hated that time. Horrific horror of our cities. Do you know what? We should never forget that young kid. And, Denise Bulger, she's reminding us all the time as well. That was planned, premeditated. They took him. They took him and killed him. Premeditated. They should have been named because they've got new names, haven't they? Well, one of them's got it. It was Venables, was it? He's still in jail. But the other fella should be named. Him. And know where he lives. Because they gave him a new identity, didn't they? So yes, I'm feeling raw. As you know, Frankie, I'm in construction industry and in areas where new builds or reservoirs are being put there to feed these new developments. We are becoming like a Las Vegas and other USA places. Wow, that's some statement, though. That is. And Phil says, Frank, have you visited Lord's? Was my wife's mum's dream. She never made it, but I took my wife while travelling. Oh. Me old girl, me mum, she always brought these pilgrims to Lord's. And when I was a kid, I always got dragged by me mum and me gran to Holywell, Saint. Oh, where was it? What was it? What was the saint's name? I forget the saint's name, and it was a well. Oh, forget the well. Oh, what was it? But I used to get dragged there, at least once a year on a cherry from where we grew up. Holywell. There was a nunnery there. Lovely sisters. I don't want to go. I want to go home. I don't want to go very well. I was only 29 at the time, like. And Lorraine, hiya Lorraine. Hi Frank, how significant was Irish immigration to the development of Liverpool society, politics and culture? How significant? It was huge. Huge. But you'd have to go back. See, it's what we call, I used to lecture about this, it's what we call the 1847 influx into Liverpool. And it was by the Irish. Because you had famines before that. The 1845 famine wasn't the only famine. You had one in 1566, 1727, 1729, 1740, 1800, and 1845. So you had all them famines to get rid of the Irish, believe it or not, by the English. So when they first came over, around 1800, you had fellas working the docks over there, Irish lads coming over, working. So you did have Irish, but they weren't many. And then 1847, the influx was these Irish. And when they set sail, thousands, and really thought that, these were illiterate people. And they were crossing over the thing to more illiterate people, us. If you know what I mean. No education here. Until 1870 and the Forster Act. And then the year 1881 and the Mundella Act, where it was compulsory that kids had to go to school. So so it was illiteracy people coming over and landing to illiterate people here. And they really thought that they were in America. They thought they were free from the English. Well, anyway, most of them didn't have the money to travel over to America now, so they set up home here. Do you know what? I wish I could put my hands on it, but I can't, unfortunately. And it's about how the Liverpool press. I'd love to have got it now and read it out. Just columns here. Each press. We had 7 newspapers here. And anyway, they greeted them shockingly. They were the educated ones, you see. But, the ordinary people, hiya, hello there, how are you doing? Is it here I'm talking to? So, and they set up around Scotland Roads area. They wanted to get by a Catholic church because the majority were Catholics. And they went to the Scotland Roads area where there was a hell of a lot of Catholic churches, namely St. Anthony's, which is still going today, and St. Joseph's, which was my parish church, and Holy Cross. So they settled all around there. Only because of the church or churches. So, in politics, huge. In culture, huge. But that's I'm finishing in a moment, sweetheart. So, but that's a lot to talk about. I will do the Irish one night. Join my history group. Join the history group. About the Irish. That's my group. On here. Monday night, 7 o'clock. And you want to say, UKIP, wasn't it? Yeah. Can you imagine me? Me. UKIP. And Phil says, MVP, that would have been a great position for you. Imagine how many speeches you could have made at von der Leyen, you mean, and Kaya Kallas. And Phil says, MI6 would have been right onto you and recruited. Or another lobby trying to bribe me. And Mick says, Mick Gonzo, I would have respected you if you had joined UKIP. Would you, Mick? I would have respected you if you had joined. There's a lot of people on the left who are disillusioned with the whole liberal takeover. I understand that. I really do, Mick. But what you've got, Mick, you've got to understand who controls UKIP or who controlled it. Now they control Reform. And I even knew that back then. And Phil said, Frank, earlier you said everything is connected. If you help people later on, you get rewards, but it might be 5 times removed. True. True, that. That's brilliant, that. That's true, that, Phil. Good man. And Steve Mulholland, I don't have much time for Zara Sultana, but she has recently exposed LFC involvement in genocide. A report by War on Want. Some LFC fans are condemning it, but call out the oil money with City. How many times have I said that? Stay. How many, mate? They haven't a clue what's on the chest of the Liverpool jersey. Haven't a clue. It was all jealousy over the oil money, to be honest, because Manchester City, and they went, they're only doing that because of the oil money. We hate the oil money. The same fucking people were doing backward flips when DIC, Sheikh Maktoum, was going to buy the club. We've got to be rich. Same people. Then all of a sudden, sure, I don't like that oil money. Having a fucking clue. And Maggie, yeah, St. Winifred. St. Winifred's well, yeah, in Holywell. Well done, Maggie. Oh, fucking gracious. I love it. Steve Mulholland, they are hypocrites. You wouldn't cocoa. You wouldn't cocoa, Steve. Honestly, mate. And Russia is on the far side. I have that. He says, where is George Scott and Lee these days? They were great on your channel. I know, but it's the way it is. And Russia is on the far side. Great. From the cup final against Everton, that. Wasn't it? I was there. Wembley. Against the Ev. And Phil says, Frank, you can bathe in the water at Holywell. A fella I know went, supped and broke his jaw. Then he's sent to the hospital and they found a cane. And Maggie says, Holywell's not far from me. Yeah, I used to get dragged there, when I was a kid. Cancer, they cured his cancer as they found at IG early. What's that? Who's that? I've lost the thread here. Getting a pain in my leg. It's terrible, when I get a pain. And Toscana to the Anfield, he's gone. The Anfield Road's gone. Anfield Road, if Venables is still in jail, I'd put money on Burnham letting him out soon. Another new ID and a house near a school. And ours near a school. That's how Walt Burnham and the rest of them are. Yes. Yes. I feel so certain crimes, when proven beyond any doubt, death penalty. I'd say for child murderers. Child murderers. And granddads and grandmothers. So don't murder me, anyone. I'm a granddad. And your answer, Mick, UKIP would have privatised healthcare, housing, education, selling us off to the highest bidder, and Americanised our social services. That's what they want to do now. Who do you think's Trump's mate? Farage. And what's Trump always wanted? Our National Health Service. Because he said, didn't he, in his first term, the NHS, we give them at a very cheap price our pharmaceuticals. That's what he said. They should be paying more. Let them get insurance if they want to use our pharmaceuticals. That means privatisation. And I always remember a consultant, a female consultant, I'm going back a few years ago, about 5-6 years ago. And she said, privatisation is not coming through the back door anymore, it's coming through the front. The front door. I've got to read this out. I can't read it. I haven't got let's see. I haven't got my glasses on. And it's from Phil, actually. He says, the fall slipped, broke his jaw at the holy water. They found cancer in the broken jaw. If he hadn't fallen, he would probably have died of cancer. Whoa. 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 That's brilliant, that. Love that. Love things like that. And little Maggie says, that's funny, that film. Falling, I mean, not the cancer. Yeah, it's brilliant what Phil said there about that fella. And Steve Mulholland says Standard Chartered provided $59.6 billion to 26 businesses complicit in Israeli atrocities between January the 23rd and August the 25th. See, that's why they don't come on my football show, them pricks. They love FSG and having a clue. These are all the oil money fellas. I just shake my head at them. I really do. I just shake my head at these people. And Steve says, I meant 15 billion. Well, 15 billion. Oh, blimey. 15 billion. I love it. Really love things like that coming out about these pricks. And it's emblazoned on our shirts, Liverpool football shirts. You can't make it up. Oh, it's getting worse. It was AXA Insurance accused of investing 59.6 billion in 51 complicit companies. Oh well. So if you've enjoyed it tonight, it's been great. Your great comments and wonderful stuff that was coming out. As I said, I'm off to Aussie in a couple of weeks. 24th of August. To be decapitated. So I'll leave you all to it. Don't forget that film, The Pyramid. He was talking about it. He was talking about it. And, about the pyramids. It's a little lorry. It's a cracker. Honestly, it's good. It's about archaeologists, they find this pyramid. It was only a little one. Oh, we found a pyramid. It's really good, and you get a couple of news people there. It's good. If you haven't seen it. I tell you what I am looking at and laughing my little head off. Which it's on YouTube. And I used to love this show. And it's called Life's Too Short. With Warwick Davis. I just, they put little excerpts on. I was watching one, was it last night? I was in bed. As you do, when you go to bed, you put the telly on. And he's buying this flat. And he goes into the bathroom. And the door handles, the doorknobs, and he can't reach it. And he said to his secretary, have you seen the secretary? What? That's... Anyway, he says, tell the woman that, it's a bit long. Not short, not because I'm shorter or anything, but it was so funny. Anyway, he says, so tell her, okay. And then the next, you see the woman, the sales rep in the garden with the, oh, for fuck's sake. You can't see that, I can't. I can't get off this, can I? Yeah. You couldn't see that, I could. Anyway, you see them in the garden, and the ones, a stupid secretary saying, oh, it's nice in here, isn't it? And we could get a little chair, there, and he can sit in that, because he's a little small. And you just see outside the block of flats, windows, up. And you just see like a shoe, in the window. And then something else, like a coat hitting the window. It's called the bathroom scene, the bathroom clip. Watch it. So funny. It's so funny, honestly. It's like, it's as funny as, if you haven't seen it yet, the lie detector. It's as funny as that. You know, with Russ Abbott, the lie detector, with Russ Abbott. Well, this, the bathroom scene, the bathroom clip, is as funny as it. Watch it. And Johan says, I missed the start of the show. Was Franco, in brackets, the other chatter, not you, talking about Israeli diaper force in a positive light? I don't know. I don't know whether he was. I just don't know. I'm being honest. I don't know, Johan. I think it, because when someone mentions the likes of what you just mentioned there, and in the next comments he made, Iran and China were mentioned. So you knew, where he was heading. And I didn't understand, I didn't know the point. Know what I mean? So, he's a nice fella. Nice fella. Frank, you covered the gulags. Two roadrunners, two Scots fellas playing cards. You're the devil. And I didn't mention, no, I've got me lace out. And you also forgot St. Winifred's Well in Hollywell. And Lords was mentioned by the girls, someone. Grazie, Franco, and chat. Have a great weekend. You too, lovely Toscana. You too, sweetheart. Will you be doing the First World War soon, says Maggie. I've done it a few times, Maggie, but I will do it. Promise you. I'm doing all the firsts that Liverpool have given on Monday. I'll be doing other things as well. I might do a little bit of First World War and the impact of that on Liverpool. But it'll have to be like, it won't be all in the one night. It'll have to carry on like a series. And Natasha, Frankie, FSG are moving out of snake. You wouldn't cocoa, Natasha. It's terrible. They're buying this kid. I think they are anyway. Mabe, is it? Mabe, 18 years of age. Haven't we got loads of 18 years of age? 17. And so, all right, he could be for the future. But we need somebody now, Natasha. We need quality players. We need these gaps filling. And I've been saying, Natasha, for 4 years, this is the 4th year, that we need a number 6, a very strong number 6. Excuse me. a Mascherano type fella, if you remember him, Natasha. Javier Mascherano, brilliant, brilliant number 6. Fabinho as well, and we haven't replaced him. And Natasha said, I remember Ross Rabbit. Get us on YouTube, watch the lie detector. Ross Rabbit and the lie detector. I'll guarantee you'll be laughing your head off. When I'm a bit down, I put it on because of safety, you see, on YouTube. And when our Gerrard was down to see me last week and the week before, I said, have a look at this. And he was laughing his head off. And if he laughs his head off, so will you. No disrespect to our kid, like. Are you doing a watch along on Sunday versus Monaco? Says Johan. I think I will, you know. Our Francine and Sophia are going to the Como game. Can't wait. Can't wait. They can't wait, that is. And Phil says, Frank, if we're in the pub and I'd drank 4 pints, it would all make sense. In the pub, it would all make sense. Everything that makes sense. I always remember meeting up with a couple who I knew very well, you know, couple. And anyway, I never went out to meet them or anything. I was already out. But I went out late. I went into town about 10 o'clock. I got into town. And I seen them in a bar. And they were standing there, you know. So I walked over. And I went, oh yeah. And they couldn't understand what they were saying. They were drunk. And yet they were having a lovely conversation between themselves and could understand each other. And I couldn't. And they were talking to me. And I think I should have been saying no when I was saying yeah. And they were giving me funny looks and I just couldn't understand what they were saying. So drunken people talk in drunken languages that, you can understand if you're with them. They've been out since the afternoon, you see. And do you know what? I haven't seen them since. Strangely, nice couple, don't get me wrong, lovely. Just wondering about the Welsh regiments. Why? Why? Do you mean in the First Wales War? You had the Scottish regiment. And one of the lads, Noel Shavas, won 2 Victoria Cross medals. Douay, 2 in the one war. One of our greatest heroes in the Liverpool Scottish. I sent you an essay on WhatsApp disguised as a message. Don't read it without your reading glasses. Sorry, I didn't put it in all caps. I'll do that, Johan. I might text you later on, okay? finishing. Yes. Yes. First World War. Okay, Maggie. And Johan says, take care, legends. Have a great weekend, everyone. As Toscana once said, we resemble an Italian family, passionate, loud, perhaps rude. But we all love each other to the core. Good night, all. That lovely? Isn't that lovely? And so right. And so right. Anytime, Frank? Okay. Most probably. Most probably. Most probably. It's like when I said once, to a couple of people, I said about the strip going along the Liverpool thing, Jersey, and I said, "You haven't a clue, have you?" And they went, "Why, you're a fucking smart ass, aren't you?" I said, "No, I just know it." I said, "You don't have to be a smart ass to know what Standard Charter stand for and who they represent." Having a fucking clue. Do you know what I'm going to have now? Because I had nothing to eat. Remember when I said I had something to eat last night? After making love to those 40-odd girls. And I had something to eat. And I was really shattered last night, I really was. So I'm going to have, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have a Bramley apple and sausage sandwich. I'm going to do the sausages in the air fryer. They'll be done in no time. And then just put them on a butty and have a cup of tea. And boy, will I enjoy them. We finish on this. That was nice, says Maggie. What was nice, Maggie? Have a great weekend, everyone. I bet you that's what you meant, wasn't it? Have a great weekend, everyone. And you too, my little Maggie. Sweetheart, you too. Yeah, look, she said that. She meant that. You need to tell the new ones about the Brummy Bay. Oh, fucking hell, yeah. Going to Scotland. Got invited up to Scotland. Met on holiday a lovely couple from Birmingham and another couple from Scotland. And this fella just lived outside Glasgow. Kenny's name was. And Eleanor, his wife. Forget the second name. And anyway, he invited us up for Halloween. And Mr. B might know, what I'm talking about here. And on Loch Lomond, there's a complex, and nothing else can be built on Loch Lomond. And there's this complex called Duck Bay. I think it's Duck Bay. Duck something anyway. Anyway, he said, we'll come up and have a look at Duck Bay, and we'd go there. My uncle owns it. I said, okay, yeah. And the next was, he invited these Birmingham couple as well, because they were a lovely couple. So the 6 of us used to be, okay, as a laugh in Corfu, not Italy, in Corfu. And it was really nice. So I got invited up. And this Birmingham, I was talking to them, I was on the phone. And he said, listen, Frank, we've got to come all the way from Birmingham. And, if you give us your address, how are you getting up there? I said, I'm driving up. He said, no, don't, because we'll pick you up and drop you back. And I went, are you sure? He said, yeah, save us, I said, okay. I'll do me. So anyway, he picked us up, driving up there. And as we were driving, it was pitch black. He was on this motorway, and like dips as well. And there was a sign, and it said, it said, watch the basin. And I said to him, what? I said, did you see that sign? He said, yeah, I didn't know that they are bison up here. I said, of course, the way they speak, I just thought, basin. He said, I wonder if I should slow down because, I don't want to, you see on the TV, don't you, like deer crossing roads. I said, yeah, you do. And I'm still wondering what he was fucking going on about. And he really does. That he was bison and just outside Glasgow. Bison, the animals. And you know what? I couldn't say anything. The 2 girls were oblivious to what he was saying, to what I was thinking, and what he, said about bison. But anyway, and on that one, a wonderful note, thank you for reminding me, Joanna needed a laugh. I really did, I needed a laugh. And Phil says, 40-odd girls. It's not your neck. Great show, Frank and Shaq. Good info and a few later moments. Yes, later moments. And Maggie says about the family. I can't get it. Anyway, I'm going to finish. I'll see you I might see you on Sunday for the watch along if you want. If not, I'll see you on Monday for the history show, which is a definite. Thank you so much for keeping me company. Love to everyone. I really mean that. If you don't join me, have a great weekend. Please have a great weekend. Stay safe and keep the peace. All the football fans have gone over to all the football pods. Who've we signed? Have we signed anyone yet? Good night, people. To our lovely Italian ladies. Buonanotte. Ci vediamo.